away, James. Sorry,
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Trinity House here for a very special day for Anthony Joshua, for us and for British boxing. Delighted to announce that we finally got our man. Anthony Joshua has turned professional and signed a long-term deal with Matchroom Boxing and will debut officially on October the 5th at the O2 Arena in London. For me, this is a very pleasing day. Obviously, we've all seen what Anthony Joshua has achieved in just 43 amateur fights. Silver medal in the World Championships and of course culminating in Olympic gold at the Olympics in London last year. And finally, I believe we've got a heavyweight in this country that we can get very, very excited about. For me, Anthony Joshua has got it all. He's got speed, he's got power, he looks the part, he talks the part, and I think we've got the perfect ambassador, not just for British boxing, but for British sport. And as we all know, British boxing is on a huge high at the moment, and for me, Anthony is the perfect role model to lift the sport even further. Someone who's got a great story, someone that can tell a story, be an ambassador for the game, a fantastic role model, and I'm delighted to welcome Anthony to the world of professional boxing and to Matchroom. Just to introduce the table, down on the far left, James Williamson from the Sports Partnership, who has been a pivotal role in Anthony's progression in turning professional. Now, one of the first things we said to Anthony was go and talk to people, find out about the business, and he did that and returned to us, and we're very happy. And I'd like to thank James, who's going to be working closely with Anthony on the commercial side and a key player in the team moving forward. Anthony, of course, will say a few words, and Adam Smith, head of Sky Sports Boxing. Obviously, want to thank Sky Sports, Adam Smith and Barney Francis for backing us and backing Anthony Joshua, believing in what we believe in, which is something that's very, very special for British boxing. And I'll pass over to Adam to say a few words now.
Thanks, Eddie. Can't wait to hear one of my favourite phrases in life. Well, that's what it is. Seize the day for Anthony Joshua. I've given up an important family occasion to actually be here today because I want to show him and Eddie our support on Sky. We really are very, very excited. It's a capital announcement, really, in the capital, a year on from striking gold in the Olympic Games and being part of the most successful British Team GB boxing there's ever been. I've got to know Anthony pretty well over the last few months, and I've been impressed with his attitude, his nature, his professionalism, and of course his towering presence. Early moments stick in the memory over the years. I remember first meeting Nassim Mohammed in Sheffield when he told me he was going to bring something totally different to Sky TV. I remember meeting Ricky Hatton on a punch bag in the corner of Billy Graham's Phoenix gym when he was a teenager. And I remember Billy saying to me, watch out for that kid. Then in Hull just a few days ago, Luke Campbell's professional debut, and he just seemed so dazzling. There was something about him. The speed I took home that night thinking, I wonder if Luke can go on all the way. Now it's Anthony's turn, and he's the big guy, the biggest of all. I wonder if we'll be looking back in a few years, thinking this is where it all started, this amazing adventure. It's not easy. Ask Audley Harrison about that. But it can be done extremely well. Ask Lennox Lewis. And we couldn't be more delighted to have Anthony Joshua on Sky. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Anthony, over to you to say a few words.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Eddie. Thanks, James, as well. Thank you for coming down on my first press conference. Becoming a professional boxer now. Leaving the amateur ranks, so I'd definitely like to give a big thank you to Finchley ABC, where I began, and I had my first bout representing Finchley ABC, and a big thank you to GB Boxing. You know, through the thick and thin, the tough road, learning my trade, and as I'm still learning now, took me from a complete novice, from ABA champion to #1 in the world, Olympic gold medalist. It's a privilege working with the coaches and my teammates and the support staff up there. As they say, behind every successful person is a big team. So it's given me the foundations, I think, to move into the professional ranks, to take that formula as an amateur into the professional ranks and potentially become a great ambassador for professional boxing and hopefully become #1 in the world sometime in the future. But this is just the beginning. It's going to be a very, very tough road, but I'm so determined and I know what I've got to do to make my dreams come true, and I'm willing to sacrifice anything I have to sacrifice in order to you know, create this destiny and to make everyone in Britain proud of me. And this is the beginning. This is Carpe Diem, October the 5th. You know, it's my time to seize the day and seize the moment and just keep on building, climbing that ladder. And I'd like to say again, thank you for coming. And I'll hand back to Eddie.
Thank you, Anthony. Yes, quite right. Carpe Diem, October the 5th at the O2. We're going to build a massive card. Kevin Mitchell, former world title challenger in action. Lee Selby, our dazzling Welshman, will take on Ryan Walsh to secure that Lonsdale belt. Prize fighter winners Larry Eppendale, Waddy Camacho, young starlets Martin Ward, potentially Luke Campbell and Anthony Gogo as well. And tickets now on sale for that. So I'd like to open to the floor for questions before we break for one-on-ones and photos. Any questions, please?
Anthony, explain training.
I'm going to be based in Tony Sims' gym to start with, you know, get my professional career on the road. I'll be there with Benny Liam, my cousin, we'll be training there together.
Eddie, you've made a lot of signings in the last year or so. Does this feel like perhaps the biggest coup so far?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, obviously we're blessed with a great team. You know, with 2 gold medalists in the country, and you know, both of them now part of the Matchroom team. I don't think that's ever been done before. You know, when anyone wins a gold medal, they're a target. But when a heavyweight like Anthony Joshua wins a gold medal, they're a huge target. And you know, this has been probably a 9 or 10 month process for us getting this done. But that's what I'm so pleased about, because you know, Anthony's got a great head on his shoulders. He's got a great team already and family around him, and Uncle Shah obviously playing a big role. And I'm delighted that he's taken his time and made the right decision. But for us, this feels like a real pivotal moment. But for British boxing as well, I think, you know, the heavyweight division is you know, the most powerful division in British boxing. I think we've got the foundations of a great heavyweight fighter here. And as Anthony says, we've got a long way to go. Everybody knows that. But again, I think we've got the foundations, and he's got the team in place to achieve great things.
I began at Matchroom when I first started looking at professional contracts, and as Eddie said, he advised me to take time out, look at every offer, look at the best option for me to move forward. And so I've gone around the world, spoke to so many different people, got advice from great champions, and after a long period of time of negotiating, speaking over my future plans and the beginning to the end, what I want to do, how I want to be perceived, the route I want to take, Matchroom was most definitely the best platform for me. We've built a relationship with Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn over the last couple of months as well, so I got to know them personally besides boxing, and they seem like great people as well. And you know, I'm happy with the team. I'm happy with their team, I'm happy with my team, and we all get along, and I'm sure it'll be a road to success. And I would like to thank Sky as well for being my broadcaster as well. That's where my fights will be shown. So the whole platform, just to begin, you know, is a great platform, and I want to start as I mean to finish, and I'm happy at Sky.
Was the tie-up with Sky in the British decision?
Sorry?
Was the tie-up with Sky in the British decision?
A lot of people say about TV and so on and so forth, but yeah, that was interesting to me. But besides that, as I said, Matchroom Sports, the fighters that they've got at the minute, where they're heading, where they're taking a lot of their fighters, just seeing what they've been doing. I've done a lot of research as well, and obviously TV was important to me, but besides that, if there was no TV, I think Matchroom are a really good platform for me to be with over there.
Anthony, another Finchley ABC fighter, Darren Barker, has signed up with Matchroom Boxing. How much has his experience with Matchroom influenced your decision to join the team?
Not only from Darren Barker, I get a lot of messages saying you made a really good decision joining Matchroom. And watching Darren Barker, you know, he's a great talent, and part of that stable as well, training down at Tony Sims' gym, and he's given me great advice to work alongside Eddie, James has, my Uncle Shay has, and this is where I'm at.
Darren Barker actually texted me yesterday when we announced the sign and said, congratulations, I really think you've signed a heavyweight champion of the world there, so that was nice, obviously.
Anthony, we read that you've been over to see Lennox Lewis in the past few months. Is he going to have any input in your professional career?
Mainly words of advice, you know, solid words of advice, mentor, but training-wise we've sorted out, promotional-wise, commercially-wise, management-wise, everything's kind of, a lot of the boxes are ticked. But Lennox Lewis, as he said, he owns the t-shirt, you know, he's been there and he's done it, so words of advice from the champ are priceless, so we stay in touch, and meeting him was an unbelievable experience.
Eddie, you mentioned there about so over the last 25 years, perhaps we've seen how to go right when you've won the Olympic gold medal with Lennox, and how you progressed in his career, perhaps where it didn't go right after Sydney for Audley Harrison, for example. How do you see Anthony in terms of progressing him? Is it something that you will take very slowly?
Yeah, we'll take it at the right pace that the team dictates. I think, you know, obviously I've worked with Audley before, and you know, whilst he's not really achieved what he set out to, you've still got to admire what he has achieved and the nights that he has had and the interest that he's created. I think you've got someone very different with Anthony Joshua, someone who's very grounded, who understands the road ahead, who understands where he's at right now, and you know, amateur fights, and what he's achieved in that period has been incredible. But what's impressed me most with Anthony is, you know, his desire, his understanding of where he is. He's a very deep thinker, not just about life but about the sport, and I think that's one reason why he's really taken his time. But I think mentally he's in a great position to capitalise on this opportunity, and I think in the past that's where people haven't been. And, you know, talk about Lennox Lewis, I think you really have someone there that was the same, mentally someone that was prepared and ready to take the opportunity. I think Anthony Joshua is exactly the same.
Does that mean therefore that you won't be putting the pressure on him topping the bill all the time?
No, I mean, look, you know, we saw recently in Hull with Luke Campbell, we did a stadium show for his debut, and you know, this is the same thing. Effectively, Anthony will be the star attraction at the O2 on October the 5th, but it will have a huge card with it and a great night of boxing. You know, you can't deny the fact that Anthony Joshua won a gold medal on the BBC, and is already a huge name, a bigger name in the sport than perhaps 90% of the people that are currently in it in this country. Is that fair? I don't know. That's just life. But it's the truth, and of course, commercially, we have to capitalise on that. He knows the pressure that's going to come with this journey, and it is a huge amount of pressure. It's not debuting tucked away on a small hall. It is heading a show at the biggest arena in the country. So, of course, there's huge amount of pressures, but there was huge amount of pressures to win a gold in the Summer Olympics in his home country, and he handled that, so I think he'll be just fine.
So you talk about moving pace the team dictates. How do you balance that with public expectation? You say where everybody wants instant gratification. How do you balance your pace, the pace of the team dictates along with public expectation?
Well, you kind of have to not worry about public expectation and just worry about our expectations and Anthony's expectations and where we're at, because you know, one thing we'll not be doing is making mistakes. So you know, the plan is quite simple for Anthony, is to box a minimum of eight times per year. We'll be looking to box him 4 times between his debut and the end of the year, and that'll include October the 5th at the O2, the end of October in Sheffield Arena on a big Kell Brook card, and also on the Froch Groves undercard as well. That's a minimum 3, but there will be 4. And just really play it by ear. I mean, you know, I think Anthony's going to adapt really well. Obviously, we've got to pick the right opponents. And we need to move at a pace where we won't come in for criticism. We'll always come in for criticism because that's just what happens. But we'll do the right thing, as we always do. And we'll pick the right opponents at the right time. But you know, the most important thing is to understand where Anthony's at every moment, and I think we'll do that very well.
Eddie, do you think with David Hay, Tyson Fury, Medalist, which had Price and Chisora, but perhaps the heat's going to be taken off Anthony a bit, and you know, it's not a standalone heavyweight, there are heavyweights in this country, and also, do you think that will help us there?
Yeah, I think, you know, British boxing is buzzing at the moment across all divisions, and actually the heavyweight division is seeing a little bit of resurgence as well. So I think you're right. I mean, with Hay Fury coming up, that will take a little bit of heat off of Anthony, but I think what we've got with Anthony, which we haven't got with a lot of the other guys in the division, is a real opportunity to take the division to a new level, and that's how good we think he is. But what we've got at the moment is huge potential, and we've got to realise that potential, and that comes through making the right decisions over a period of time. So Anthony won't worry about the pressure that's on him. He'll get his head down, and he'll just continue to work hard. You know, we will speak for him, and I'll do all the talking, and generally I'm in charge of the bullshit, and Anthony will just graft away. But I think he's in a division that can explode at any time, and domestically the division is looking great right now, and I think it's a great time for him to come on the scene. And those kind of guys, yeah, in 2 or 3 years' time, they're definitely guys that he's going to be working with. But now it's about building up to that moment and doing the right things.
Eddie, I presume you won't just be catering for insomniacs. You put him on before midnight.
Correct, yeah. I mean, you talk about Luke Campbell. Yeah, well, he was on at 10 to 12. Most people are still awake at that time, Colin. We understand you're tucked up with your Horlicks, but you know, on a serious note, Luke Campbell was actually out half an hour too late, definitely. But good to see that the ratings for that show were so good, and they continued right till the end of transmission. So people definitely stayed up to watch him. But yeah, I think Anthony will be on about 11 o'clock, if that's all right with you.
Thank you very much.
Maybe even half 10.
Yes. I mean, don't forget the O2. You've got the bottom bowl, which holds 10,000, and the top bowl, which holds in total just under 19,000. We'll open the bottom bowl, and we'll see how we get on. It's very ambitious. It's very audacious. That's what we do. We believe we've got a huge name in it, Anthony Joshua. Like I said, we're going to build a great build for British boxing with huge ticket sellers as well, and I'm confident that we'll at least fill that lower bowl.
Anthony, how do you feel about fighting in the O2?
Back in London, I'm glad to be back in the ring. Could have put me anywhere. I just wanted to get back in the ring and start competing again. But it's a privilege to be competing at the O2. You know, it's a great arena, and it's my pro debut. I don't know what to say. I'm just overwhelmed that I'm back in the ring again after so long. And as I said, you could have put me anywhere. I just want to get the ball rolling.
Anthony, a lot of us have spoken to you over the last year about when you were going to make the decision.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to the day or a few months ago when you decided it was time to make that move? Because we were all asking you the questions for the last 6 months.
Yeah, a lot of the decisions is down to my development as a fighter. And you know, the Olympic system, the Olympic facilities are priceless. They're so good. And I think I went on the Olympic team maybe 40 months before the Europeans was in the Olympic. And then from that time, I used to box like I'm like 6'6", but I used to box like I was Mike Tyson. You know, that was the style I made for myself, and they really changed me upright, my balance, and I realised the improvements I was making. So after the games, I thought, you know what, I could definitely go on to Rio and try and capture a second gold medal. So I looked at that option. I looked at the professional option, and deep down in my head, when I first started boxing, after winning the ABAs, I didn't even know about Olympic boxing. I just thought it was win the ABAs and turn professional. And when I found out about Olympic boxing, I backed myself to stay on as an amateur and achieve great things. And I'm glad that I fulfilled my dreams. And then after the games, as I said, I was thinking about staying on for a long time. And I met with Eddie, I met with a lot of people, listened to a lot of people, sieved out all the rubbish, kept all the good parts, thought and thought, listened and listened. And I'm here now after about a year, after about 10 months, and I feel in my heart and in my mind that this is what I really want to do, and I know what I'm getting involved in. So I know moving forward, I don't think I'll ever have a regret with this decision, and that was the main thing.
You've been inside a lot of shows and camp and stuff like that. Is that kind of buzz and absorbing all that? Did that help you make the decision you wanted to be part of that?
Yeah, most definitely. I think now I'm signed, I won't be ringside anymore. I think I'll be in the back row somewhere. But I love boxing, you know, and to be, and Eddie always sorts me out, so I'm happy. Ringside or in the backstage.
It might be ringside.
Most definitely, I looked at the APB, WSB. It's new. It's not solid yet, you know, and it's a long-term deal. What you said about TV, they didn't have no exposure. And if I'm going to be fighting as an amateur professional boxer, I might as well do the real thing and turn over and compete as a professional boxer. So that's where my mind was at. I'm not going to do it halfway, I wanted to do it the full way.
James, obviously much will depend on Anthony's success, but where can you take him commercially? I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be the Beckham of boxing, but you know, potentially he must be working a long one.
I think heavyweight boxing is a sport in itself, and I think that's what the world sort of tunes in for. Anthony has a huge amount of work to do, and he knows that. And I think post-Olympics, when he and I sat and spoke, one of the key things that stood out for me was how aware he was of the journey ahead of him, and how he wasn't getting ahead of himself, he wasn't listening to a lot of the nonsense around him. I think people throwing crazy numbers around about what he was already worth today before he was even laced up for his first fight. And I think that's what stood out for me with where he can go. If he can realise his potential, then yes, of course, the heavyweight game is extremely lucrative. He's articulate as well as if he can do what we believe he can do in the ring, as a combination of all those factors, then the world is oyster commercially. I think, same as in the ring, it's a question of taking time. It's not about making a quick buck. He's backed himself in terms of turning down money in the past to make this decision to go and achieve amazing things in the amateur ranks, and I think it'd be the same thing in every aspect of his life moving forward, that take time to make decisions when they're right to make, and to say that the world will be his oyster, but there's a lot to do first.
Did you get a deal on that soon?
Well, if we did, we better be sorting you on that. Always rely on you, Cooper.
You said a long-term deal. How long?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
What do you expect to achieve in those 3 years?
To get him to where we want to be, to make the right decisions, to give him every opportunity. You know, personally, when I see talent like this in a fighter, I never want to live with the regret of never delivering or never getting the best out of him. So I've got to try and do the right things for Anthony, try and set up the right team for Anthony, promote him in the most efficient and professional way, and get him to where, I mean, you know, where he'll be in 3 years is where he'll be. But if we do the right things, in 3 years' time, he'll be perfectly set up, in my opinion, for a big assault on the world heavyweight division. I mean, you don't know how quickly he's going to progress, or how slowly he's going to progress. But what we do know is a huge amount of talent and every opportunity to become a huge star of the sport. So we've got to try and make sure that we do the right thing and get the best out of it.
Is the first fight going to be 4 or 6?
6 rounds. Right, guys, we're going to have Right, we're going to have a few photos and then everyone's available for one-on-ones if need be. Thank you very much. See you at the O2.